the voice of Ireland.
And he's celebrating 20 years in the music industry this year. His career's included, though, 6 months as an aid worker in Africa and a pretty horrific car accident.
Going to hear more about that in just a moment. Morning.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning.
Yeah,
well,
morning,
thank you.
Susanna. How are you?
Great to see you. And before we talk to you, we're going to just have a little listen to you singing this beautiful track, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Here we go.
I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
Your favourite song, you said?
It's one of my favourite songs, yeah. I suppose because I've been a fan of Simon and Garfunkel since I was so high. And their music is timeless, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's just, it's amazing. Their music is amazing.
Because I was, what, it's nearly 30, getting on, yeah, 30
Maybe.
years?
Yeah, it would be, actually, yeah, because my memory of them is my dad having these records, the vinyl records in our house in Ireland.
40 years even.
It must be 40 years, because I was, what, 10, 12 when I was listening to that stuff, and it was quite old at that stage, so it would be 40 years. I'm 40 years, so it's probably as old as I am.
You got into music young.
Very young,
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got started.
I started when, I suppose it was kind of a necessity more than a choice. When you couldn't get a summer job or whatever, so we used to go around singing in pubs and clubs.
And where is this? Where are
In
you?
Sligo, northwest Ireland, in Sligo, Mayo, all of that area. And it was a great means to an end, because you had, you made quite good money, you had a social life in the middle of all of that as well. And even though you were maybe 15 or 16, you were still able to go into the pubs at that stage. It was a very different time back then. And it was really great, and you could make good living, make decent money out of it. And that continued all the way through my schooling. And eventually I just decided this is what I want to do. It's too good, it's too enjoyable.
And then you are going through performing in your 20s, and then it almost comes to a horrific end.
Almost,
with the crash where you're driving home from a gig, presumably, and you come off the road.
What happened?
And somehow managed to save yourself.
It was 1998. It's 14 years ago, actually, which is hard to believe. But I was promoting my second album, Restless Spirit. It was one of the big albums that I had at the time. Basically fatigued, tired, all of that while you're driving around the country doing promo and doing tours. And I decided to go back to my parents' home to visit them. And eventually, when I was almost home, 3 or 4 miles from the home, fell asleep at the wheel and drove into a tree and broke my neck. So it was quite horrific.
You came to your own rescue. In
I was on a back road, so there was nobody for miles around. So eventually I crawled out of the car, crawled and walked slightly 2 miles until somebody picked me up.
2 miles with a broken neck crawling out of a car accident.
Yeah, I didn't know I had a broken neck, obviously. I mean, my first thoughts was I've got bad whiplash, or I'm going to be fine. I just need to get home and go to sleep, and I'll be okay in the morning.
That sort of thing gives you a different outlook on life, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Lots of people ask me, what does the accident mean to me? And I'd be honest with you, it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because, I know that sounds strange, but it's because it made me realise who was important, the things that are important in life. And, sometimes the small things are actually what matter most.
Did it literally change things? Did you make a decision there and then about anything? Did you think, I'm going to try and do this or that?
Not there and then. I guess in my convalescence and when I was recuperating, I made decisions then. It took me over a year to really come back on the road and stuff like that. But I made decisions on the people that worked around me. They weren't exactly the right people that I needed around me at the time, so they were eliminated out of my life in a good way. And those kind of decisions I made over a period of time. Yeah. And then, I made some life-changing decisions that gave me great experiences. But that's how it works.
Let's take another quick listen to some of your music. Here you are singing. There's an Irish connection here. You Raise Me Up.
So I can I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can
That was 7
be.
years ago.
Do they like that track in Japan?
They actually, Japan is
you've
it's
got
a
a big fan
wonderful
base there.
place
You're
to
big in
work.
Japan?
Yeah, big in Japan. There used to be a band called Big in Japan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange when we work in Japan. The very first time I actually worked in Japan, nobody gave me the protocol. You know, nobody told me what. I knew what the protocol, the right protocol was, but when you were doing a concert, nobody told me what could possibly happen. So when the Japanese really wanted to show appreciation, they clap in sync with each other. So it sounds a bit weird when you're at a concert.
Well, it probably sounds like they want you to leave the stage.
But worse to come is when they really show appreciation, they cry. So when you're singing really good, sad songs, all of a sudden you start working from the front row all the way back, and they're all crying, and you're thinking, what the hell have I done here? It's quite strange, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to work. And my very first time there I think I was like a circus animal in the beginning, because it was like pointing at the hair and kind of, I was very unusual looking in the middle of all the Japanese. But it's a wonderful place. It's an amazing country.
But if you ever want to feel like you're having an emotional effect on an audience, that's where you would go.
That's where you would go.
Yeah.
That's where you go to boost your ego.
Well, you're here at the moment, of course,
Yes.
in the UK. Tommy's starting his tour on March the 10th in Bristol, and then travels the country, finishing in Newcastle on March the 30th.
Thank you very
Lovely
much.
to see you.
You too. Thank you for having
Thank you very much
Not
indeed.
at all. Now, here's a British success story which will come as no surprise to lovers of the programme One Man and His Dog. The UK has become the envy of the world when it comes to breeding border collies.
Yes, shepherds and farmers from around the world are after them, and prices have